Today you'll hear about our superb men talk about how to get started as a keynote speaker and to stand out in the marketing industry. You'll also learn about the importance of building connections with your children. Prepare to be inspired. Let's go. Our superb man today has an extensive marketing career, including with working with Gillette, Dulux, and as the marketing manager at the Flight Centre. He is now considered a marketing guru as a keynote speaker, coach, blogger, and advisor to Melbourne businesses. He is also the host of Australia's #1 marketing show, Small Business Big Marketing. Welcome to Timbo Reid.
Sarah, pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So Tim, what is your greatest joy as a parent?
Straight into it, hey? Just like that.
Yeah.
We love that. My greatest joy as a parent is, this is it's a simple answer, but when I get called dad, I know that sounds weird. Maybe it doesn't, but there's so much honour when I've got 3 children, and when I hear them say dad, which is often, I reckon weekly I just go, wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Awesome.
And yeah. So there's so many joys, Sarah. I'd identify one, but just that simple one to remember that, because sometimes I've got a boy. I've got a 17-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy, and a 13-year-old girl. They're all relatively tall. I'm 6'4",
wow.
And they're all kind of sort of up here to me. And sometimes I look at them as being, well, they're small adults and they're great mates. But at the end of the day, I am their dad, and there's a beautiful honour in that.
That's for sure. So we often have warm memories of our own family, but we've also got fond memories of our childhood. Do you have a warm memory that you'd like to share today?
A warm memory of my childhood. Hot cinnamon donuts and a banana Big M down at Phillip Island, which is a little beach resort where we used to go each January. And I can still smell those donuts and I can still taste that banana Big M, which for non-Australian folk is just a flavoured milk. And funnily, like, love my food and all that type of stuff, but then that smell and taste and where we were brings back lots of memories of hanging out with the family. I've got a big family. I've got 5 siblings, and it was the one time where we would all go down to this holiday resort and hang out together, bring our friends down, and so it then just kind of triggers all those wonderful memories.
Oh, that's fantastic. So we often hold on to those warm memories of our childhood during tough times, but we also have quotes that motivate and inspire us. Do you have a quote that motivates you?
Oh, you mean like generally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few marketing ones. I kind of live in the world of marketing,
so
that's
your life.
But I won't. Well, one I use often, and it's about branding. So when I talk a lot to small businesses about brand, and the quote that I use is, people can copy what we do, but not who we are.
True.
So it kind of applies to life generally. So, in the sense of how that plays out for a business and for a parent or anyone really, is that, there's no shortage of people and there's no shortage of businesses in this world. So it's about being yourself and identifying who you are and what's important to you, because that'll come through in the brand that you're trying to build. So it's a bit of a marketing answer to that one, we sort of went down that parenting discussion. But yeah, I love that quote.
No, it's great. And so how have you found that in your own business as well, where you don't mind when others perhaps might copy you to some extent?
Oh, it happens. It just, go for it, It's interesting. I kind of like when I hear a business or someone in my industry use language that I'm already using. I kind of go, oh, well, they kind of like what I do.
Yes.
Would have been nice if they'd kind of acknowledged it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's all in the delivery. There's no shortage of marketing guys, is my view. So, and there's going to be another one open up tomorrow next door is the mindset I have in business. So if that's the case, then what sets us apart? It's our personality. It's the way we go about things. And, even as a parent, like we could easily fall into the trap of just towing the line. What are the conventions of being a parent? Oh, you've got to be strict and you've got to, say no more than yes, and you've got to do this and you've got to be this. And I just think you've got to be yourself. yourself and be
Absolutely.
authentic and be, hold a set of values and then just be who you are. It's hard not being yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fantastic, what you're saying there. So,
That's nice. Thank you.
thank you. That's great. So, what inspired you to go from a successful marketing career to helping others with their marketing and their business?
I had this bloke come round to my house one day. He was a glazier and he fixed the glass that was broken. And he was about 55, 60 years old. And he said, what do you do, mate? And I said, I help small businesses with their marketing. And this was actually post leaving a corporate marketing career, but it defined why I do what I do, which is help small businesses with their marketing.
Sure.
And he said, when I told him that I helped small businesses with their marketing, he goes, I said, what's the problem? He said, well, I'm going home now to renew my Yellow Pages ad. I said, well, that shouldn't be a problem. It obviously generates business for you and it's a good thing. He goes, I don't know if it does. I said, well, why are you doing it? He said, it cost $20,000. I said, wow, for a little one-man glazier, that's a lot of pain.
Yes.
And if you don't know why, if it's working or not, why do you do it? He said, I'm scared that if I drop it, my competitor will take it up. I said, do your competitor a disservice and give it to them because obviously it's not working for you. So that reminded me that when I was in advertising, worked in a large agency looking after brands like you mentioned and was the marketing manager at Flight Centre. When I spoke to a small business owner, they would they would ask me marketing questions. They were very attentive.
Yes.
They were very thankful, and they would actually action what I talked about. And I thought, gosh, that's really cool. I'd like to work with small businesses because they need this advice. They need the advice more than maybe the big guys do because the big guys have got big budgets and can kind of break through walls where the small business owner's got to be frugal and smart about how they go about it. So that's kind of why I left corporate. And plus, actually, that's the business reason. That's my business why. And the other one was when I was the marketing manager at Flight Centre, I was living down the beach, about an hour out of town. Head office was in town. It was a hell of a drive or a commute. I had to be travelling all the time and I had a young family and it kind of did my head in a bit and I hated that whole being owned by the corporate monster. And I'd worked between leaving advertising and leaving and going into my own business. I went and worked for an organisation, a not-for-profit organisation called Reach, which helps young people at risk. And what I saw there was a whole lot of young people coming through Reach being dropped off in Mercedes and BMWs.
Wow.
And I kind of looked into that further and it was like, it wasn't about street kids or a lower socioeconomic. It was about young people not having a connection with their dad. So
wow,
I didn't want
that's
that.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great experience.
Yeah.
So what do you believe is your greatest success and why?
Oh, having a fam.
Awesome.
Hey? That's a cliche, but it's got to be true. I mean, how can you look past that? How could you go to the trophy cabinet and go, I'm pretty proud of that award over, helping create three beautiful human beings who are, themselves making a difference in the world. And I don't really, that's cliche, but I don't know what beats it.
It's absolutely true. I totally relate to you there. For me, just knowing that my girls are recognised as polite and kind, lovely girls is just the best thing to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of beautiful when I love telling other parents what beautiful children they have, and I love getting that. I love getting that back because, and I only say it when I mean it,
Yes.
and I hope other people do the same.
True.
But it's nice because you work hard to raise good people, don't you? And
Absolutely.
So every now and then it's nice to get a pat on the back.
So what does your support system look like for raising up your children? Do you have some family nearby as well, or?
We do. we're pretty self-reliant.
Yeah.
Our kids are old enough now that,
True.
13, 15 and 17, that they are pretty self-reliant. We kind of like to bring them along to things anyway. We didn't do a lot of the babysitter thing.
Yeah.
Early days, I remember it was quite interesting because, like in that sort of 0 to 2, I remember we kind of did bed down and
Yes.
were probably, on reflection, we'd do that differently. Like we'd be more social from the minute we brought the baby back from the hospital. Like just get out there and don't put it in cotton wool and just kind of just get out there and go to restaurants and go to people's homes. But we were quite, certainly the first 2 times we were quite protective. But no, our support systems, we tend to kind of be self-reliant.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love your phrase on your marketing show, punching above your weight. You often use that in reference to people who perhaps where they challenge themselves to achieve bigger and better results. And I was just wondering if you had thought perhaps in the family life, is there an example where perhaps you've punched above your weight in terms of family life? Perhaps you did something really special with your children? I remember recently you went on a yacht with your children. Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, we kind of, it was a tall ship. It was like one of those things that Captain Cook came.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so really interesting. So long story short, a guy called me about 8 weeks ago, so it's quite recent, and he said, "You don't know me, but I found you online, and I own all the tall ships on Sydney Harbour." Okay,
Wow.
and he talked, it was kind of cool. And he said he had this idea of wanting to do a joint venture and me running some workshops on the tall ships, blah, 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 blah. So we got talking, developed a bit of I went up to Sydney, met with him. Next thing I know, he'd invited us up to Sydney Harbour for a weekend to live on a tall ship. So the 5 of us stayed on this tall ship for 3 days, and that was amazing. And there was actually a moment where I don't know whether it's punching above our weight or not, because that's a phrase I use within marketing, but kind of just having a go, having a crack. And myself and my 3 kids all scaled the mast of this tall ship in the middle of Sydney Harbour. It was like 20 metres up in the air, and all 4 of us were standing in the crow's nest. They call it the crow's nest, that little platform at the top of a mast, and the 4 of us stood there.
Wow.
And just kind of, it was pretty special to be able to do that, because my middle boy, Will, had a scared of heights, so he overcame that to get up there.
Wow.
Jack, who's the oldest, just kind of has a go, so he's just a real go-getter. And then Steph, who's 13, I probably wrongly questioned whether she could actually do it, and she just nailed it. And so we
Prove you wrong.
proved me wrong. And so that was a pretty beautiful moment. And then we looked down on the deck, and there's my beautiful wife looking up at us going, "Really? What are you doing?" we nailed it.
That's
so that's
awesome.
pretty special.
It's so cool.
Yeah, to be able to do things like that. I mean, I think they're things that you remember. You put in the bank and reflect on them maybe at the 21st or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's opening yourself up to opportunities as a family. Like often we're encouraged to open ourselves up to opportunities in business, but also it's great to be open to those opportunities as a family as well.
Yeah, to just do some memorable stuff. I think every now and then, we get so caught up in the day-to-day that to not do those things can kind of limit what you achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've come to our wow round. This is where I'm going to ask you some quick questions, and you're going to come back with some amazing answers.
Okay, there's no pressure there.
No. So this is one I've actually taken the first question from your wonderful podcast, which is, what is your superpower? Yeah.
Well, I like to think I can. I've kind of coined this phrase "edutain," which is kind of within my show is Small Business Big Marketing. I like to educate small business owners, but also entertain them at the same time, because I think there's not enough laughter in the world. There's not enough smiling going on. So business is serious. So I like to kind of be able to find that balance between helping people and putting a smile on their dial. So that's kind of My kids don't think I'm that funny, but
kids don't.
give it a go.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
So when did you first visualize yourself as a marketing guru?
Oh, well, I wouldn't put myself out there as a marketing guru, but I'm someone who loves, it's a big word, guru.
Yeah.
But I don't really recall a moment where I've gone. See, I did marketing because I didn't know what else to do,
Wow,
and
yeah.
Mum and Dad wanted me to go to uni, and it was like, okay, well, that seems like a fun course, and when I finish it, it doesn't limit me in terms of what I can do. So I've been in marketing from the moment I left school,
Wow.
but there was probably a moment where I dreamt of actually channeling my business into being a marketing speaker, a keynote speaker, and now that's what I do. So probably like 5 years ago, I started my podcast. That was just a wonderful thing, and it's been wonderful to me. And then what it did was open up a world of speaking, and now I'm signed with a speakers bureau in Australia where they actually represent me. And that was kind of, I suppose there's a moment there where I've gone, that's cool. And I've been lucky enough in the last 6 months to go to Dubai and speak, to go to Vietnam and speak, and then just around Australia. And there's probably a moment there where I can go, yeah, you know what? I did dream of doing that, and it's happened.
Awesome. That's great. So what are 3 qualities you believe have helped you be a success?
3 qualities to be a success. A sense of humour, for sure. The ability to just maybe every now and then take a breath and sit back and look at what's going on, as opposed to race in head first and kind of I am one to race in head first, but also just to take a breath and look around and be a little bit considered about what it is I'm doing. So a sense of humour, sort of the ability to be considered. And then the opposite of that actually is like I do operate fairly intuitively, fairly emotionally. So and that seems to have worked to an extent, where I've just listened to what feels right and gone and done it, as opposed to going and researching, something to death and then, having the head kick in and saying, no good.
That's awesome. It's so good. So what would you like to be remembered for?
Good dad.
Awesome. Absolutely.
That's it.
So what charity are you passionate about? I know you mentioned Reach before. Is that?
Yeah, it is pretty special, Reach, because whilst it is a charity, it's a not-for-profit. It's a kind of concept that was started by a guy called Jim Steins, he's now deceased. He died of cancer last year, but he was a very famous footballer in Australia. In fact, one of the most famous footballers in Australia. He and after his football career, or actually just coming to near the end of his football career, he started this program called Reach, which is about helping young people at risk, and it was based on a concept of Greek mythology. There's a book called The Man of 1,000 Masks, and Jim, off the back of that, with he went into partnership to build this charity with a guy called Paul Curry, and between Jim and Paul, they turned the Man of 1,000 Masks into this concept called the Hero's Journey, and the Hero's Journey was a process for anyone really, but for young people in particular, to actually realise their dreams, help their dreams come true. So a lot of young people, whether they might get bullied in the playground, they might get told by their family and friends that what they want to be is a joke, or as if you could ever do that. They may just lack self-confidence, and this Hero's Journey process allowed them to go, no, I want to do that. There's some things in the way, and I'm going to slay those dragons, and I'm just going to be who I am, because it's much easier. And so that's an amazing program, and it continues to this day after Jim passed on, and now there's a whole lot of young people running that program.
It's so inspiring. It's great. So what internet resource are you excited about right now?
What internet resource? Like a website, like a piece of software,
Software perhaps, like could be Wikipedia. For me, it's Skype. I love Skype right now.
Skype's good. Well, I do know a good podcast called Small Business Big Marketing, and that's the best marketing resource going around.
I have to agree with you there. Yes.
Oh, that's very kind. Look, I honestly think podcasting, and I'm being, obviously I have a leaning towards it, but, people are listening to this
Yes.
via a podcast or via a vodcast. I just think there is a wealth of information sitting on the Apple iTunes store where you can go there, click on podcast and go into the search box and type in an area of interest that you're interested in, parenting, marketing, hot air ballooning, whatever. And there's probably going to be someone somewhere in the world will be creating an audio or video show about it. And I just think that's fantastic. So I'm very bullish about podcasting and excited by it because, you can hop in the car and turn on commercial radio and it's the same old.
Yes.
Or you can just get the old iPhone or smartphone out and open up the podcast app and, you've got something there that you can listen to in your own time, at your own speed, that is in an area of interest that you are wanting to hear about or learn more about. So I'll give podcasting the thumbs up.
Me too. Awesome. I just love it because, as parents and as business owners, we've got such a limited amount of time. We don't want to be wasting our time listening to anything, and this is a great way to target what you're listening to and really invest in yourself. It's really great. Yeah. It's great.
Totally.
So what book would you recommend to our mums and dads?
A parenting book
or a
just
business
a book?
A book that you really
enjoy. Well, there's a few that come to mind. The one I'm reading at the moment, I was laughing about. My best mate and I are absolutely poles apart in terms of I'm very emotional, he's very rational. So right now we're having this conversation this morning, I'm reading Conversations with God.
Yes.
And my best mate is reading something about how we came from cavemen. We're laughing about that this morning. So awesome. I love the book Conversations with God. Interesting. I just kind of like a bit of spiritual stuff. Always makes me sleep well. So I've just finished reading a fictional book called Pillars of the Earth, which was fantastic, set in 12th, 13th century England. Yes. So that was that's a good escapism. Yeah. So thoroughly enjoyed that. And what other book? Is there any other? There's plenty there. I mean, I always have one going, I'm actually spending quite a bit of time on the Apple newsstand at the moment. So I've subscribed to a few magazines like T3 and Wired and Fast Company and kind of go through a bit of a business stage and then I go back into a bit of fictional stuff and then a bit of spiritual stuff and mix it up.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about right now?
Well, I'm going away in December and I can't say where because I haven't told the kids and we're all going and, it's a bit of a secret. So I'm excited about that, excited about travel. What am I excited about? I'm excited about what are we in? October 2013, 2014, I'm pretty excited from a business point of view about really building out the speaking part of what I do. And we've just moved into a new home and excited about kind of looking forward to speeding down in that. So, and I just got a nice big plasma TV. But I can't get excited about that.
Oh,
I don't know why I said that.
It's okay. So the last question is really to help our mums and dads who are perhaps a real expert in their field, but they'd really like to be a keynote speaker to share at conferences perhaps in their expertise. And I've heard you mention a couple of things throughout the talk so far, but would you like to share perhaps 3 steps to help them get to that next level?
Mums and dads who want to become keynote speakers.
Yeah, perhaps they're an expert already in their field. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I love speaking. So, you've got to, identify your topic and absolutely be passionate about it. There's no shortage of speakers. Again,
Sure.
people can copy what you do, not who you are. So you kind of got to go, okay, well, no shortage of speakers, but don't lose faith. Doesn't mean you can't become a speaker.
Cool.
Get clear on your topic. Once you're clear on your topic, go and write the slide deck. It's just a really good practical thing to do. So get into PowerPoint or Keynote and actually create that series of slides, which I call it your master slide deck. And that master slide deck might be broken up into a number of chapters. So, if, say, my master slide deck is all about small business marketing, then I'll have a chapter around message creation, another one around podcasting, another one around websites, another one around Google, and all that type of stuff. So I can kind of, if someone wants me to come and speak about, podcasting, then I take that and do that. So actually write your master slide deck is a good thing to do. And then go and get practice with it, both just, in front of a mirror, but also go and seek some speaking opportunities. And they're going to be free to start with. So, chambers of commerce or parenting groups or sporting associations or, people are always looking for speakers, good speakers. So, and I think, again, people can copy what we do, not who we are. So who are you? Develop a style that is different to all the others. Be yourself. Don't kind of read I would suggest, because public speaking can be scary, but obviously if you want to do it, then you've kind of broken through the scary part. But, don't have all these preconceived, I can't lean on the lectern and I've got to stand behind the microphone and I can't put my hands in my pockets. And it's like, no, just be yourself. And so develop a style, record some stuff. I think creating content and putting it out on the internet. So record yourself speaking, putting it up on YouTube, putting it on a website. All those types of things are very powerful ways to kind of just start to lean into speaking as a way forward.
It sounds fantastic. Well, before we say goodbye, Timbo, I just want to say, would you like to share some final inspiring words and perhaps how we can get in touch or follow you?
Well, you can final inspiring words. Gosh, being put on the spot here.
Sure.
Just, I just think have a go. That's kind of my thing. I interviewed a guy recently, David Warren, who owns the Sydney Tall Ships. Yes. And of all the interviews that I've done, and I've done about 160 on small business, big marketing, I had the most feedback about his interview, and I listened back to it, which I don't do often. And he was just inspiring. And one of the things that he talked about, because he's been through an incredible journey of got to the point where he had to look behind the car seat, under the car seat and under the couch for some coins to go out to dinner with his wife type stuff. And then he came through the other end, and it was all about just never say never, always have a go. There's always a way. And so if I kind of look back on where I've been, I've kind of, if I had have really dissected things, I might not have done some of the things that I did, and David was the same. So have a go. And the other question that you asked was, how can we get in touch with you or follow you? How can you get call to action, as we call it in marketing. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. Great. And you can listen to my weekly show that I put out on a Tuesday. And if you are into marketing, then you can always join the forum which I run, and I'm in there every day answering questions and building a bit of a tribe of small business owners, which I'm quite excited about. Yeah. And if you want to find out about me as a marketing speaker, head over to Tim Reid. That's reid.com.au, and that's my speaker's site. And if you want to pursue the idea of being a speaker, you've got to have a personal brand site, and you can kind of copy that.
That's awesome. Well, Timbo, I just want to say thank you so much for being so generous with what you've shared today, and we really have motivated and inspired us today, and we just wish you all the best for your journey ahead. Thank you.
Sarah, love your work, and well done on putting this little show together, and may it, grow and grow and grow.
Thank you. What a great family guy, right? So if you've enjoyed listening to Timbo, how about you head over to the Small Business Big Marketing podcast and sign up. It's a really enjoyable podcast, variety of guests, and I'm always inspired with my marketing. then head over to theprentalist.com and send out Timbo a thank you tweet. It's as quick as clicking a button, and I know he'd really appreciate it. Well, have a great week, have a great weekend, because you know what? You're pretty great. See ya.